Ooh la la la, it's the way that we rock when we're doing our thing. Ooh na na na, it's the way that we rock when we're doing our thing. Ooh la 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 la. I don't know where that came from, but it feels so good. It feels so fucking good to be in Leo season. I'm telling you, I love Leo season. It is the season of the sun. And even though I'm here in Australia in the winter time, it is still beautiful. And the sun inside and outside still wants that time to shine, and it wants to be refined, it wants to be alchemized, and that fire, it wants our ego to get humbled and worked through and tested and receive the lessons that these outer planets have for us here. When we have all of these inner planets in Leo right now, we have a lot of ego, a lot of fire and passion and drive, ramping us up to create, ramping us up, inviting us. It's like that inner sun within and out, and now the new moon coming after the season of eclipse, after this whole eclipse portal in July. And to me, the first new moon after an eclipse is like riding that big wave, getting fucking tossed and turned and like eaten alive by the ocean of my own subconscious and unconscious and all that is like bearing me, making me, and then lifting me back up again. And I come up and I like wipe my eyes and I open my new eyes and this new breath to this whole new world. Like we find ourselves in a whole new chapter, a whole new world. For some of us, big shifts happened. There might have been a lot of deep letting goes. Some profound letting go, some just like needing to get clear, do the work, and to make those hard decisions. Some of us were really uncovering those deep wounds of the Cancer, of the like inner child and the inner feminine, our traumas, our attachment styles, our emotional needs, and how they have not been met, you know? And for others, we were like in that Capricorn, taking responsibility, and we're like doing the work, doing the duty. And then we overcome by work, and we're overcome by the gravity and the reality of life and all the systems and structures that happen to run it. And then now we find ourselves coming up and come up, and hopefully we're bringing up all that healing, and hopefully we're bringing up those places where we reclaimed our power and authority. And what do we do with that healing and that power and that authority? What do we do with those systems and structures and the foundations that we've been working on? What do we do with that? We come to a new moon in Leo and we say, let's create with that. Let's create from that space. So this new moon in Leo, to me, deep call, but this joyous, this exuberance, this exciting, delicious call into a deeper place of empowerment, into your true creatorship, like into that true expression of your unique essence of who you are and why you've come here, you know? And it sounds so good. It sounds so good. It's like, yes, I have all these jewels and I have this message, these gifts to shine, and all this love, this fucking love and big heart to give, right? I want to give. Leo is like, I want to really get big. And then it's like, oh yeah, but we have a lot of inner planets. We have the Venus and Mars and the new moon and the sun. all in Leo, saying, time to shine, it's go time, time to step into that part of who we know we are, that inner queen, dragon, that king, that we know we're here to be. And we have all these outer planets. We have some of these outer planets really initiating us, really coming in to say, okay, yes, artist, yes, performer and queen and king and Leo, yes, sunshine, shine. We want you to, the whole world does, okay? But what's holding you back? What are those obstacles? What are those power dynamics? What are the other components that we are asking? The universe is asking us to make sure that our egos are humbled in this journey of creation and expression. You know? So, who are those? We have Jupiter for one. Jupiter in Sagittarius stationing. We have Uranus also stationing before it goes retrograde. Jupiter has been retrograde, now it's stationing to go direct. We have Mercury having been retrograde through this whole eclipse season, now stationing as well. And so what does stationing mean? It means before a planet goes retrograde or direct again after it's been retrograde, it means it stations. And to our perception on Earth, it looks like it's standing still. But what does that do? It magnifies that planet. It's like almost like a time stands still, especially with Mercury, you know, who rules our mind and our perceptions and our transportations and our the way that we really give and receive information. So time stands still in these moments in a way where we are ramping up to move through something. We've done a lot of work, we've done a lot of healing, and we have so much fire and so much ego, like, don't hold me back. And yet we also have like this stationing happening that's like we're really being asked to learn these lessons. And so what are some of those lessons? These are big lessons because they're big outer planets, and it takes years for them to go through the signs. So these outer planets are giving us massive collective generational lessons, okay? And so when they aspect these internal planets that are moving really fast, that are really affecting the way that we feel and what we want to do right now, when they're aspecting that, it really means that part of us, a part of our developmental process and stage that we're in, needs to be initiated first. You know, those are a part of the dynamic allies, if you will, or the challengers that come in to be like, yes, Leo, shine and blossom, but like, what are the challenges to that blossom, and how we address that right now is going to affect the like potency of the art that we create. It's going to affect the potency and the blossom of that flower and the medicine that comes from it, the song that it then emanates and sings. That journey of challenge is what makes that song so potent in the end, right? And so let me just speak a little bit to the essence of Leo. So Leo in itself is the sun. It rules the heart and the joy and the authenticity of creation. And how I look at that, it's like a three-tiered archetype for me. It's like there's a part of the artist that loves to just be in the art. It's like that dancer fully experiences the rapture of the dance, of the rhythm, of the movement flowing through the body, and it's like being taken over by spirit, you know? And of course the dancer looks glorious and it looks beautiful, but really it's about that rapture of transcendental creation. And every artist, every singer, every person, when they're truly in that flow of creation, when they're truly in that moment, that climax of their blossom and their bloom, that is Leo. That is what I feel best represents this beautiful gift that Leo has to offer us. And to me, that's the juice of life. Like, it's really, really beautiful to experience that total rapture of spirit, to then create something of worship and art, you know? And when art is worship, that's what's happening, in my opinion. And the other stage of that is that, so the opening happens, the rapture happens, and the art and the worship comes through. And then that art and worship flows through and touches everyone, like touches everyone that witnesses it. Every person that looks at that painting, every person listening to that song, watching that dance, is transmitted that journey, is transmitted that journey and that relationship to spirit and to that person whose unique codes merged with spirit made that offering, made that art, right? And so in that receiving, in that transmission, like, the Leo then receives the adoration, it receives the like extra gift of being witnessed, of being received, and also seeing how that journey, how that offering touched and healed and opened and inspired, or whatever, all the people, right? So in that receiving of the adoration, of the impact, the influence of its shininess, of its offering, it also receives more. It receives more fire, more energy to then circulate, to then create more, you know? So for the Leo, it's not just, I want to shine and I want to be told how beautiful and glorious I am. That can be an experience of Leo. When the ego is running the show, when it's seeking self-validation, when it's seeking its worth, when it doesn't actually get touched and know its own essence, then it needs all of that reflection to even barely touch the surface of that gaping hole that is asking to know its own connection to source. So to me, it's all about getting in touch with your actual connection to source, to your fire, to your relationship to spirit, to whatever life-giving power, and however you want to describe it, getting in touch with that. And in that meeting and in that knowing, it reveals to you, what is your unique essence? What is your medicine? Because it's not just like, oh, I'm a vacant vessel and nothing about me, la la la, is anything. It's like, nothing is ego. We just gotta like shred that ego. And it's like, no, let that ego actually be the vessel for that spirit to flow through. Let that body be that temple, right? And so in that journey, we have to let our body, we have to let our ego, our temple, get worked a little bit. Because if we're fearful, or if we're unworthy, or if we don't even know, we don't even have a relationship with that core and that sun and that fire, then we're trying to get it, we're trying to take it, we're trying to use our art or use anything that we can to create a steeple for us to rise up on. And then we're harvesting that attention, and we're harvesting all of the energy that we get, that we can gather up, all the likes, all the like whatevers, you know, to feed our like fickle fires, you know. And this is a time of really getting clear with, is your fire fickle? Like, is that ego like crashing and burning and getting fed and blowing up and inflating, and you know, because this is a time of actually allowing that ego to get so refined in the cauldron of this experience right now, of what goes on in these moments when the universe brings in these dynamic allies, so that what we have to offer, that what we shine, is actually something that brings us into a deeper sense of connection, into a deeper sense of authenticity, you know. And so it's this journey with Leo, to be ego, to be it so good that it actually is letting the ego go a lot. It's being humbled. Fire signs know they have to like express and be real. Sometimes that means falling on your face. Sometimes that means like risking being awkward or dorky or showing this vulnerable part of like, hey, do you want to be my friend? Because like, wow, I was so excited to meet you. And like being real with it. Not in this way of like, I need you and I need you to be my friend, but in this way of like, I have this beautiful heart expression that wants to come out and I'm going to share it. You know, fire wants to share. You want to create something, you want to do something, you want to go out and do it. You have to initiate. And when there's blocks, when there's all these reflections, maybe some, maybe a lot, that want to challenge, you got to work with that. You know, find ways where you can set your boundaries with it, or you can digest it in a way that nourishes you and brings you into a deeper integrity, those kind of things. And so that's where discernment happens and comes in. And so I want to speak a little bit to the major teachers and initiators right now. One, Jupiter in Sagittarius. It's been retrograde. It's now stationing, so it's heightening that lesson for us. And Jupiter in Sagittarius it's the remover of obstacles, you know, it's Ganesha, it's the guru. It's like teaching us on a collective level. This is the year of getting true with our purpose, of getting real with our truth, of actually seeing the obstacles and the belief systems that we might not even know we have, but these sometimes dogmatic or self-limiting, constricting, victimizing, heroism, healer, whatever. It can get so set on its direction and its purpose that when belief systems come in or new information comes in that can rock the foundations of those belief systems, it could drop its arrow. Like disillusionment can happen to where it has no idea how to integrate that into its reality and keep its fire moving, keep its passion in its direction. Jupiter in Sagittarius is a journey of disillusionment. It's a journey of removing those obstacles that keep you from actually propelling in your purpose and in your direction, you know. So anything that's either your fire's like over blazing and you're dogmatic and you're like beating the Bible over the head of everyone around you, or you've got this fixed way of like needing to get through things, needing to like do your plan and execute it in such and such way. So with Jupiter and Sagittarius, it's really asking, hey, have you stopped? Have you taken a look at the belief systems? What's coming? What roadblocks have been coming up in your life during this eclipse season? During especially your journey of opening and expressing and creating, stepping in to your power and your true creatorship. What roadblocks keep stopping you? Focus in on that. Take a magnifying lens to that and let light expand it and open you up. Let it open your perceptions up. Let it open your heart up, because that Leo wants its heart open. And sometimes these wounds inside of the Leo can make it close, can make it become arrogant and push away, can make it fight for power and dominance. That is a false sense of confidence. That is a false sense of power. So that Jupiter in Sagittarius is asking to excavate those belief systems and to allow the removal of those belief systems to remove the obstacles from your path so that you can step in. So that when those humbling or embarrassing or degrading or any sort of thing like that, like shutting down of your fire comes, ding, ding, ding. Look, is this a Jupiter moment? Is this a moment for my belief systems to gracefully be worked through and let go? Revise. Is this a moment for maybe my purpose or my truth to be more refined and stepped into? Is there a way that this fire can actually like propel me to initiate more while listening, while letting go? And so when we have these big opportunities to step forth into fire, to step forth into creation and expression, into our power, we also have these humbling opportunities to see when we don't feel like Leo, when we don't feel like Sagittarius, who has its purpose and its direction. So we have these moments to also see, what does it feel like when the path isn't clear? What does it feel like when the moment of disillusion happens and there's that wake of confusion and that feeling of like, I don't know what's real and what's not. That feeling of like, I don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to take that arrow and actually make it direct. This is a time of healing our fire. You know, what shuts it down? And so, segueing from that point into Uranus and Taurus. Uranus is in a long, beautiful, and probably devastating journey in Taurus. Taurus rules our resources, our body, our relationship to the earth, our relationship to our body, and our relationship to money. You know, it is literally what I feel like the Garden of Eden represents, is that beautiful place where the temple within and without are in harmony, a place where that bridge hasn't been broken. And so to me, Uranus and Taurus is coming in to create sudden change, to come in and radically alter our paths, alter our perceptions, and like break us free of some stuck binding foundations or patterns that have been keeping that relationship stagnant, that have been keeping that relationship actually completely unsustainable. You know, and so this, like, that's why I said devastating journeys, because it's humbling, and we're going to be faced with the realization of what our relationship is to our resources and our body and our earth and our land and our money, and how they all relate. And so why I said it's a perfect segue from that relationship and invitation into our fire is that if our fire can't be direct or isn't sustainable or is still moving in arrogance and a lack of confidence and manipulation and power plays and power struggles, or shutting down and making yourself less than or weaker than, or letting any little raised eyebrow shut your heart and your sexual energy and your fire and your digestion down, much less your mission, your creativity, your art. That is why you've come here. You know, if our relationship to our fire and all things that are connected to that fire aren't in right relationship, then our relationship to our body and our resources and our money need to be examined. This is a call get your body in alignment. I hate saying it because I actually like would prefer to just eat gluten-free, like yummy icing-filled pastries all the time and drink red wine. But right now, my body is like starting to actually cry out. I'm getting like allergies and I'm not feeling good at different times of the day. And it's like my organs are calling out and they're like, hey, 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 there's something going on. Are you going to ignore it? Or are you going to address it? And so that Uranus and Taurus is asking us to address physical, material, foundational security. You know, how does your relationship to your finances affect the way you create, the way you step into that power? You know, how does your relationship to your home? Is it like, oh my God, I need to clean, I need to clean, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to buy this, I need to buy that, I need to do this for my outward appearance, I need to do this for my home, I need to do this for my kids, or whatever it is. It's like I need to do all these things before, and then I'll create, or then I'll be that person that can step in to that thing. There's like these ways in which we'll use those physical or material issues to actually stop us from stepping into our power in a superficial way. But there's also a deeper cry of like, is your mundane world and routine, but is your foundation of your body, your health, balance that fire, balance that digestion, alkalinize so that your fire is in check. Give yourself a secure base, a beautiful home and a beautiful wardrobe and a beautiful diet and a beautiful everything physical, so that you can be brought into that higher expression of who you are. You know, time to heal that shit. Give yourself a makeover and make it real. Make it healthy, make it look good from the inside out and from the outside in, you know. And then we have Mercury. Mercury, having started this eclipse season, going retrograde from 4 degrees of Leo into Cancer, and then now stationing before it brings us all the way back through Cancer and then to Leo again, you know. So it's really asking us to make sure we bring our emotional needs and security and our home, our relationships, our ability to be vulnerable and intimate, all of those things we've been working on in this month of July. Mercury is asking us to make sure that we actually heal it, that we actually pack up that ceremony, release, forgive, draw your heart into presence and into openness. Draw your relationships into presence and into openness. And keep working on those steps. Whatever's been revealed, keep making sure that you're actually finishing it up, tidying up the home and the nest, so that you bring yourself into this journey of creation, into this new chapter of your own Leo, with a healed inner child, a healed inner feminine, a healed dynamic of giving and receiving, and ultimately heal that victim and perpetrator. See where you hook in and feed that dynamic inside of yourself and inside of your relationships. That will directly impact the way that you create in the world. It will directly impact the purity of expression, of how you let that light shine through in Leo. Because all of those unmet needs and desires, and how they've been made subconscious or shamed or victimized, those will come out and they will run the day and they will run your relationships. So time to really let that mind, let that Mercury see the patterns. Let it open up the pathways and the neural pathways to be rerouted and made anew, you know? Open up those perceptions and let that be the journey that fuels you into a deeper, more integrated, more pure sense of that Leo 9 fire, you know? On that note, blessings. As you journey into this season of Leo, as you actually open into a new chapter, bringing your truth and your purpose, bringing your relationship to your body and your finances, bringing your emotional needs and security in to that pure expression. And let's not forget about all that Capricorn. That Saturn and Pluto in the South Node still asking us to bring your structures and your relationship to the structures inside and out, and your relationship to authority in to that journey of what you're creating, of what your own unique blossom is. Fucking share it and be graceful in those moments when you close down. Know that that's a part of it. It's a part of the journey. It's a part of the unfolding. Blessings on this new moon.